the Director of Physical Planning is responsible for physical planning at the local physical level and development approvals. My question is to the room. None of you probably know who the Director of Physical Planning is. The reason also the media was called here today is for us to ask questions. Where is the County Executive Committee member of Urban Planning? Who has been there, Patrick Adolwa, probably even before I started school. He's now the current CC of Planning. Where is he? He's never seen. Those are the questions that we are posing, and that is why we call this meeting today, not to ask questions to the panelists, but to tell the county we are aware of the problems and we are sick and tired. If the governor is not going to listen to us because it's difficult to find the governor who was elected, we will compel you to follow the Physical Planning Act. If you're not going to listen, we will use the courts, because that's almost where we're getting to. Even if it means going to courts to seek a moratorium to stop developments happening until you give us local physical development plans, that is why we had this meeting today. And if the professional bodies are not going to do it, Karen Langata District Association will do it. And we are calling on all neighborhood associations to join in. It's not a matter of chit-chat anymore, as I'm seeing going around in this room today. You will chit-chat forever.
When the people are together, when everyone is one in voice, we shall be able to achieve whatever is that is ahead of us. We can overtake and we can overturn. There are precedents in this city of buildings coming down. We remember Taj Mahal came down. Remember Nakumatt UK came down. These people who are rushing to build up structures without plans, their buildings can't come down. And so people should not rush and think that Kenyans are sleeping. We are not asleep. And we are coming and we are going to move forward. And there was a last question.
That was for him.
That was when the people are together, when everyone is one in voice, we shall be able to achieve whatever is that is ahead of us. We can overtake and we can overturn. There are precedents in this city of buildings coming down. We remember Taj Mahal came down. Remember Nakumatt UK came down. These people who are rushing to build up structures without plans, their buildings can't come down. And so people should not rush and think that Kenyans are sleeping. We are not asleep. And we are coming and we are going to move
for making money. So the timelines given to scrutinize the plans and give approvals is very, very short. Secondly, this online system seems to be interfered with from time to time to enable some decisions to be made. I must say, I've sat in that committee as a representative of residents' associations, not as an appointee of the county government. So I've been following up. I think Karen can attest to this, that before every meeting, whenever there's anything which needs to be dealt with, I've always sent messages around saying, okay, this and this is out for approval, any objections, so that I can get feedback. We've been able to generally put back several applications because they were not regular through objections at the committee level. However, the approval system, the online approval system, has only one person capable of manipulating it. And it's in public domain that from time to time somebody has put through approvals of applications which never went through the technical committee. So we have that problem. Secondly, we were only six members representing stakeholders including the Architects Association, engineers, planners. The rest of about 30 members are staff, county staff members. So you can appreciate if there's any arm twisting at the local level, it will be done. The committee expired in November last year, and the governor was supposed to send out an invitation.
Nairobi residents are sick and tired. Let me say this, a question was raised, it's becoming a narrative of class. Pipeline, Karen, Lavington, Kileleshwa, Kilimani, it's not about class. Two wrongs do not make a right. Because the gibberish was allowed to take place in Pipeline, it doesn't mean we allow it to continue happening. What we are trying to say, development is allowed. It's inevitable. I give the example of Karen. It first started as 20-acre plots, 10-acre plots, 5-acre plots, and down to 1-acre plots. We've never stopped development. We're okay with development because it must happen. What we're trying to say is, if you have to have these 25-story buildings, where I think you threw out the Physical Planning Act from, what we're trying to say is plan for it. You do not go to shower with your clothes and then you remove the clothes once you're in the shower. Let today's meeting be that we are starting to ask questions on the Physical Planning Act. And neighborhood associations and the professional bodies in this room today.
City or county that allows outsiders to actually be part of the approval process. So whereas it's a very noble thing that they're doing, having a UPTC, its efficiency, of course, is maybe what it is we are questioning today. That yes, we are there, we're represented, we've sat in that committee for a long time. But to what extent is the influence of our presence being felt in the actual approvals? I think that's where really the question lies. My feeling and my interaction, having served there, during COVID times and everything was basically online, is that for a committee that is made up of technical personnel, we do not have even sufficient technical information for the decisions that we're making. I can assure you, this issue of talking about heights and the floor levels is exactly what we usually sit there and approve. That you're told there's a building coming up on Kinaruma Road, 14 floors. This is the land size, these are the number of units that you're going to get. It's reduced to almost one line on an Excel sheet. Is that sufficient information to make decisions? I do not think so. I think it needs to be broader. These very complex developments should have a little bit more information so that it's a little bit more efficient in terms of how we are making our decisions. But I think more importantly is that when you're approving something more piecemeal as opposed to approving them based on an existing master plan, an existing development control policy, something that is tangible, that is in law, it would make it easier to make decisions. Because for us, at that point, you're probably just using precedents to make the decisions on behalf of the people you're representing. So that becomes a challenge. I think the other thing that has been talked about is the issue of the system. We've moved the entire approval process from just being on paper as before, using the PPA 1s and 2s and so on and so forth, to something that is online, and it really worked before. And AK was involved in developing the approval system that was used from 2010 all the way up to 2020, 2021 when NMS came on board and changed the system. And you begin to realize that the entire approval process is not being looked at as a service delivery process.
Roslyn Riviera Mall, and then on then behind we have Two Rivers Development, and then on the other side we have the Northern Bypass. We were supposed to have a road going through Runda Park to come out on Mimosa Road. Then we come out through the main gate of Runda. That's how we were supposed to access civilization. But then that road has since been annexed by Runda Park, and their house is built there, and there is a wall, so we cannot come out through there. On the northern bypass, there is that master plan of the road. So apparently exits were made on the other side of the road, but now later on we were being told that it's some of our houses which are going to be affected. Like the road now seems to have been shifted to, to our side. And then when public participation is done, if any, it's never like brought, near us. We hear it's somewhere there in Ruaka. So northern bypass, the road came and hung somewhere, a small roundabout there in Ruaka, and then on the other side, our part is not done. So there is that thing hanging, and we are wondering whether really the original plan is going to be changed so that now it is our houses which are being affected or not. Then on the other hand, when it comes to Two Rivers Mall, they were supposed to be building, these single-use, one-story, buildings, bordering us. But now, what are they called? Those loft houses, they became 2 floors. But now we are hearing there will even be 4 floors. And now we hear there is even a new development coming to come there right next to us on the Two Rivers side, more called One Way. That's our skyscraper. So we wonder, and then obviously we have no access to, to the main roads because we hear ours was blocked. On the other side, we are just coming on the northern bypass, Pesapap, and we hear that they are even going to push the road more on our side. Then on this other side is a small convoluted thing, so we access it through Roslyn Riviera Mall. So we wonder whether really we are accommodated in the city plan and what it means. And then in Ruda Riviera, all along we have been having what we call private solutions for public problems.
Without you who are actually feeling the pinch being part of the process, and we empathize with you.
You cannot purport to approve that which is not provided for in an area development plan. No, you cannot. Where are you coming from? If somebody puts in an application for development for Kilimani, what's the basis of your considering that? I am the one who initiated new plan. You can record me as saying that. I am the one who was the first person to initiate it because it was in my docket to do so. When I was appointed Director of City Planning in 2001, the only priority I had was to create a new master plan for the city because the 73 strategy was coming to an end. But no one supported us. No one wanted to put a back on our table. No one wanted to give us political support. It was our business. You planners can sit in a room and think about it. This is just one of those things people do. It took some foreigner called Jamaica to give us money, some stranger to come and give us money for our plan. Yes, but that's what always happens. Every time we want to do a very strategic thing, we don't raise our own internal funds, we ask someone else to help us. Are we together? It speaks about what your attitude towards the plan is. It's some mundane business that is not core business to us. 2002, it took us how many years? I even left Nairobi, went to Kisumu as Director of City Planning. I came back to the process. It was still continuing. It took 11 years for new plan to come off the board. How old were some people then that are in City Hall now? Take 20 years out of their ages. We're in trouble. Because they cannot just fathom the complexity. They cannot fathom it. They cannot even begin to understand how complex this space is. And so, they think city planning is reduced to height. You cannot reduce this complexity to a story about. We have got one primary school, Embakasi Primary, totally filled to the brim. There's nowhere the governor speaks about increasing the number of schools in the city. He doesn't talk about the traffic congestion in the city. He doesn't talk about the water supply in the city. So how will you, if you can't plan for this basic infrastructure, how will we trust you after the 25 stories have been approved? Let's say there are 1,000 of them within the city. Now you will start thinking about how their sewer will leave their houses. How will you do that? So this needs to come out very clearly, and it's not coming out clearly. So we are not saying do not go and build. Thank you so much, Governor, for showing us the projection. But what are you doing about it so far? That is the question.
Associations who are represented here. I think maybe you can share.
Pans out into the challenges that we have seen in terms of boreholes being sunk by every development that's coming up. We know about the restrictions, they're not being adhered to, and this is affecting our water tables as well. In the long run, we're going to pay the price as Nairobians. We have challenges of clash of use in terms of lack of planning, in terms entertainment, sports, sleepless nights by residents, and we're not saying that we cannot coexist. We're saying the foundation of all this is proper order and planning, and saying where will the bars be? Where will the entertainment spots be? Where will the schools be? Where will the green spaces be? All this is panning out into things that we're seeing in terms of mental health and challenges even in terms of respiratory. You can all hear all the dust out here. It's quite upsetting. And mitigations around this all are based on the foundation of local area plans. The city has a plan, that is a new plan, which provided a broad framework. All we're asking for is that this broad framework be cascaded down in the spirit of devolution and in the spirit of that new plan that was funded by JICA to ensure that we have local area plans and it is a participatory process that happens. Beyond those challenges, of course, of noise, of water, even infrastructure in terms of the road.
We can do. We've got a law that restricts construction in the pipeline area, Tasia, to about 4 stories, I think 3 stories. Beyond that, I think you actually need an elevator. Pipeline has got about 9 stories. No elevator, no nothing. No open spaces, no green spaces, and no sewer lines in the entire pipeline. The wider Embakasi today, I live in Nyayo. I'm the chair for Nyayo Estate. And the wider Eastlands, basically. I will tell you, an estate like Feather Estate, the last time they saw piped water coming through their taps is probably 3-4 months ago, or less. Nyayo Estate has got 30,000 residents. We receive water twice a week. About 6 million liters for 30,000 residents. If you do the maths, that's about 120 liters per resident per week. And you're supposed to use that to wash, cook, and everything. It's not possible, people. So what you're saying, for a basic plan, even in your own kitchen, before you make an egg, you need a plan. You need to have fire, you need to have your oil, you need to have your pan and everything ready. Nairobi is talking about 20, actually the governor, not even Nairobi, the governor is talking about 2020 to 2050, the population will increase to 10.5 million. And now a solution to this is to start going to 25 stories in 2024. So why are we building houses for people who are not there yet? Shouldn't we be thinking about the roads, the water, the traffic, the schools? And I'm very passionate about Embakasi every time I speak about this. Embakasi ward, with that population of about 300.
Residential area next to a river. Next to a river. You've got underground tanks with fuels. If they were to leak, that would go directly to the river. The risks involved. We saw what happened at Muradi. So they put up this notice, change of user from residential to petrol station and commercial, because as you know nowadays, there is no petrol station that doesn't come with a mini shopping mall. So it's a mall as well. It's a mall as well. We mobilized objections because fortunately they put the objections, and we didn't hear anything. We got responses from the county government about 2 months later. Then we thought that matter, they said we have not received the applications yet, and we're actively chasing it at the county government. Then we thought that matter had died, just to see a classified advertisement in one of the newspapers, the same application, petrol station